Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us for our very first live webinar with our co-founder and CTO, Anthony. This is the very first time that we are doing this, so really appreciate, and there's a lot to cover, so really appreciate your patience if we go slightly over the hour, and your feedback as well. If you can see at the bottom of the screen, there's a Q&A section. So throughout the webinar, please do click on that, and your questions will be collated and we will cover them, or Anthony will cover them in the second half of the session. And yeah, that's all from me. There's a lot to cover, so I'll let Anthony start.
Thanks, Emily. Good morning, everyone. As Emily said, we really appreciate you guys joining the call this morning. This is our first section, so apologies if it doesn't go as smooth as possible, but we'll try our best. Basically today, what we want to do is to kick off almost like a monthly webinar where we're going to be capturing questions throughout the month from our clients and try to understand what are the pain points, and also to get ideas on things that they want us to build for them. Ultimately, we can obviously spend that month in building it and hopefully showcase it by the end of that month. Also for people to ask questions on maybe how to use the platform, any issues that you may have, and we will try to do that today as well. So today being the first one, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to give you guys a bit of a background on why did we start with Verto, why did we start with FX, and potentially what is the future aspiration, and hopefully how we can help you guys build and grow your business as well. So as you guys can see, we've kind of positioned ourselves as a cross-border payment company. Most of you are aware of different fintechs, banks, and other providers out there that kind of do something similar, but in a different way. Some of them are obviously currency specific, some of them are regional specific, and so on. But we ultimately want to be the guide to go to if you need to do anything cross-border. And that's coming from payment to FX to future product like lending and credit card and so on. So please follow on the journey. A quick history, as I just said, we obviously started Verto about 4 years ago now. We spent the first 1 year trying to build all the infrastructure in-house. So from licensing, from the platform, from the infrastructure, and ultimately, if you want to do cross-border payments, one of the most important aspects of that is onboarding, which is compliance aspect. And some of you that already are clients, you know that we focus a lot on compliance because we make sure that if you're fully onboarded and you have a robust system in place, then we'll never have an issue with you guys using us and obviously growing using Verto. We joined Y Combinator, for whoever that know that, is one of the accelerators in the US, probably the top accelerators around the world. And that allowed us to almost confirm all the tests that we've been trying to do, which is we're trying to build a solution that not only just solving the developed market problem, but actually focusing on the emerging market, then start showing traction. And we use that to get our initial seed round, which was the fund that we used to optimize on the initial MVP that we bootstrapped during the first year. And today, I think we're on version 3 of Verto, which we launched about a month ago, or maybe 6 weeks ago. Again, some of you have seen what's happening on the platform. A lot of things that you see, it's not just trying to be fancy with the website or to look cleaner. It's actually because we have updated infrastructure from end to end again, and that is to position ourselves to be that go-to platform for your cross-border payments. One of the key questions that I get asked a lot is like, what are the problems that you were trying to solve initially? And I think this can get a bit almost like you don't get to think about the question anymore because you feel like you already solved the problem. But ultimately, the problem is still the same thing. When we kick off Verto, the question was, why is it so expensive for businesses to make an exchange, especially if you're dealing with a currency that is not as liquid? So if you're not doing pounds to dollars, pounds to euros, or vice versa, suddenly it's quite expensive. And that's because the bank is charging you for the payment aspect, for the corresponding relationship that they have, and for the infrastructure. So we thought, okay, we need to make sure that whatever we do, we must have one of the best rates, if not the best rate in the market. The other option was the payment aspect. Again, some of you probably have amazing experience with us, some of you probably have a mixed experience. And I have to say, bear with us, we're still trying to solve the problem. But ultimately, when you go with a bank or any of the old school incumbents, you make a payment, and on average, if you're lucky, it will get settled 3 days later. And that's on top of all the fees they will charge you for making that payment. And we said, okay, we need to remove that. And what we're trying to do now is to get to a position where every payment on our platform, at the very least, deliver within T+1. And that T+1 is almost like a benchmark for not failing on our own tests from day one. Ultimately, we want to get to a situation where every payment are delivered within hours, if not instantly. And that's basically what you guys are going to see in the product that we'll be going to bring in over the next few years. Now, when we talk about foreign currencies, if you're doing pounds to dollar again, you probably don't feel like that's a problem, because you can go on any website, any of those travel websites, the bank, there's a rate out there that you'll get. So it's not actually illiquid. But if you need to do your pounds to South Africa rand, to Kenyan shilling, to Nigerian naira, and vice versa, you actually experience what we call illiquidity, because there's not enough balance on both sides of the trade. So, and that obviously fitted into the expensive exchange rate that you get from those platforms, and the payment settlement time as well. And some of this illiquid currency, as you guys probably know, they're actually very controlled by either the central government in those countries, or by some restrictions to do with compliance and so on. And this is basically the 4 questions that we wanted to solve from day one. And so far, I think we're doing some decent job. We ultimately want to get to that situation where the FX rate is literally next to nothing. Ultimately, as a company, we have to make money to run the business, otherwise we will fail as well. But it doesn't mean that we have to be charging like some ridiculous fee just to make money. And the solution that we, at the same time, this is like back to 4 years ago, we thought we know how to solve this problem, we know how to solve the liquidity problem, exchange rate problem, and the payments problem. We need to build a solution that is peer-to-peer, but for businesses. And that's where the marketplace side of our platform, which I'll hopefully show you in a bit, comes in. And the peer-to-peer element is basically saying, if we can remove the bank, if we can remove the middleman, where 2 businesses are actually trading with each other, then you guys can actually determine the rates that you want to exchange your currency. And if you can determine that quickly, what's left is just settlements. And the reason why people don't trade with each other or businesses is usually down to a lot of issues to do with trust. Because if I don't know you, how can I trust you to send money to you first, and maybe you won't send? This is where Verto comes in. With Verto, we become your clearinghouse where you can trust us. Every client on our platform have already been onboarded. They've been scrutinized for different reasons, from sanction, AML, everything that you can think of. Otherwise, they won't be able to use the platform. So ultimately, we become the trust platform that allows you to trade with each other, and you don't need to know that person or that business. And since then, obviously, we wanted to position ourselves as a marketplace of emerging businesses, allowing businesses to do large value transactions. Even right now, a lot of banks in developing markets struggle to do even small transactions because of large value. And the issue with that is not just that you can't do that, but actually affect the company or the country, because how can you grow as a business if you cannot literally buy and sell something abroad, or pay your suppliers in another country with ease? And if you have to be growing, that means your volume and transaction value will grow as well. And this is something that a lot of fintech, maybe even in the UK or US, are not focusing on. They're focusing on the consumer aspect. I want to send $100, easy. 1,000, maybe 10,000, you start to get a bit of problem. On Verto, we want to get to that situation that if you want to send 10 million, 1 billion, it should be just as easy as you pressing the button on your phone. And the other part of it is the payment aspect. Like most of us are consumers, we're used to instant payments. If I want to send money to my friend right now, I expect them to get that money instantly in the UK because of faster payments. But when it comes to business, it's like endless messaging tools in between, and no one really knows what's going on top of the charges that come on top of it. So we want to remove that, and that's something that we're focusing on a lot this year. So a lot of the infrastructure that we've been focusing on this year is about automating our payment routing, ensuring that we are super connected everywhere. And ultimately, it means that if you can make a payment today and the client get the payment within hours, that gives you a good business relationship. Ultimately, you grow, and we grow as well. So that's basically the solution, and that's something that we'll continue to focus on top of the other stuff that we'll do. The other part I want to talk quickly before I dive into the product is, again, we get asked this question: why are you guys trying to do emerging market? What's the real problem? And the problem is that Africa or emerging market like Asia, Southeast Asia, they are actually largely untapped markets, which means they're going to grow over the next coming years. And enough for them to grow, somebody needs to solve the cross-border pain point, because you can't grow if you can't export or import with ease. And that's something that it was a very, I don't want to say mission, but something that literally drove us, that we want to contribute to that growth. But one of the things that actually stopped that growth in the past is poor regulatory and compliance infrastructure with some of these countries or the continent, and which ultimately means that there's no infrastructure when it comes to payments. As you can see, these are the two main parts of Verto. Like when it comes to onboarding on our side, it's not as easy as just tapping 1, 2, 3, but that's where we want to get to that situation where within a few seconds you're fully onboarded. And that allows us to show a robust solution to our counterparties, to our regulators, that, hey, do not look at this continent or this country as high risk just because we're not doing anything on the infrastructure side. This is what we've built, and this is how to onboard those clients and ultimately allow us to do what we want to do with ACE. Today, this is what we've done so far. So we've obviously built a digital banking infrastructure, and to do at least focus on 4 pillars. As you can see, we haven't finished, like we're still building. So this is where this cycle kind of telling the story. So
Anthony, sorry to interrupt. We can't see your screen.
You can't see my screen?
No.
Now?
No. You just click on, can you see the green button at the bottom? Share screen. There we go.
So have you not seen my screen since the beginning?
Yeah.
All right. Apologies.
Perfect.
So quick. So this is what I just talked about. This is a history, the problem, expensive exchange rate, 3+ days international payment, difficult access to foreign currency and control currencies, the solution peer-to-peer as mentioned. This is why we're trying to solve the problem. Like I said, largely on tap market, poor reg, and infrastructure. And today, this is what we've built today. And this is literally the 4 pillar of Verto. So you're looking at payment processing pillar, which is how do you make local payments. The local payments will allow us to do instant payments rather than doing cross-border. And what we need to do is to make sure that we are in every single country around the world locally, and we can settle locally and collect locally as well. Bank and settlement accounts, again, this is very important because whether you like it or not, the banks are still in the middle of what we do today. Hopefully at some point in the future, we can say we are the bank ourselves. But until then, we need to ensure that we have local settlements bank account as well, and that's something that we're still building. The liquidity issue that I mentioned, again, that's a never ending problem because as the country or continent or demand and supply grows, it means that liquidity problem will continue to grow. But what we hope to do is to build that platform that will hopefully give more liquidity and allow free movements of funds across the border. And compliance is one of the major parts. We're doing a decent job of that, but we're still building, and hopefully over the next few months or years, we can say that we have a fully 100% robust compliance solutions that other businesses can tap in, which allow you guys to use other solutions that might not be Verto solution as well. So I know some of you, obviously, when we did the survey in the invites, we asked the question, what would you like to see? So some of the questions that came back is how to make an exchange, how to fund your wallet, and how to send and receive payments. So I'm gonna share the same screen that most of you are used to, which is the platform. Is my screen still visible? I mean,
yeah.
Okay. So obviously this is the platform that I think we launched about 6 weeks or 8 weeks ago. And ultimately is to reduce the friction of making payments, making an exchange, and so on. When you come to the dashboard, you can actually kick off any of the typical queries from here. So if I want to send money, I can just click on there and can easily do an exchange between currencies that I want to. So I can change this. This button reverse the currency that you want to do. And if you have a reference number that you need to input with the exchange, you can actually input that in there. So for example, I can do pounds to AD. And if I have a reference number, U2456, enter that in there. And when you get to this point, the question we're asking you is, are you planning to send the money out of Verto's platform? So you're sending to a beneficiary, which could be your own account in another country or in the UK, or inside your AED wallet that you can utilize later on. So you can use AED wallet or you can use account. If it's an account here, as you can see, I do not have any recipient, so I have to literally initiate add a recipient to this account. It could be a company, it could be an individual. You enter the details. This part of the beneficiary account details is actually an API that's checking that the information that you provided to us is genuine and is correct. Some users in the past have reached out to us to say maybe the information is correct, but this is not confirming it. And I can guarantee you that will always happen, because if it's a new beneficiary or a new bank that's not registered on any of this network, or is still maybe hasn't been updated, you might have that situation that it doesn't confirm it. But if you're 100% sure, you can actually override it. So we give option for you to override it. What that means is you are taking the decision that you don't believe the system is correct, that we should believe you. So if something is happened to be wrong in that detail, it means that we can't be liable for that. But ultimately, the system checks that the bank details is correct, so you're paying the right person and so on. If you just do exchange to your wallet, that ultimately just credit that balance into your wallet. And you can choose the purpose of your payment in case if you it is something that you need to track on your side. Sometimes we ask the question on our side, but this just remove that friction of back and forth. So if you know the reason why you're doing this exchange, it's best to just enter it straight away. If you have any documentation that you want to provide as evidence, like invoice, you can easily upload that document in here. And that's basically you telling us where the money is going to go to. Now is how you're going to make payments, which is on your pound side. We always display our bank account details in any of the transactions that you do. But also, if you have a wallet, you can use a wallet. And if you have a bank account with Verto, if you have our own GBP bank account, you can use a bank account. That option will come in here. What this ultimately saying is that you either send us the fund. At the moment, every fund that's being transferred to Verto is only using bank transfer. We are in the process of integrating in the future a way to use our own system to payment maybe money from your card directly, or to log in from here into your bank account using open banking. But obviously there's limitation to that. One of the limitations is in value. If you have to transfer large value through card, usually it will get flagged by any banking system out there because it's seen as a risk. If you have to do a bank transfer through open banking and a slight value, there is a high chance that it won't go through, your bank will not allow it. So these are kind of limitations that we don't want to bring that friction into our own platform. But as the system and solution gets better, we're going to integrate them. So you don't always have to do bank transfer. And if not, if you have money in your wallet, you can choose a wallet from here. As you can see, it's giving me the option to use either my GBP bank account or to use money in my wallet. Another thing that should be probably that could be slightly confusing here is we want to ensure that reconciliation is 100% under one account. So if, let's say, I happen to have less funds in my wallet, like 2,000, and I have some in my GBP, some user will want to combine both. And that's not a difficult solution we actually had it before, but it created a lot of confusion where you're taking some money from here and some money from here, and ultimately, when it comes to even your own reconciliation, it gets lost in translation. That's why we separated the two, so you can use one or the other. And at the end of this, if you obviously are used to paying, let's say, the same suppliers, the same customers, or you have some transaction that is repeated, we actually encourage you to refer that client to Verto, because when you refer them, this same solution, you can use it a lot quicker without having to go through this process. So actually, if that person becomes Verto's client, you can send them payment on from your wallet instantly within a few seconds, and you don't have to do any exchange. I mean, you can exchange money before if it's a currency that's different from your main currency, but that payment will go out in and instantly, and you don't have to worry about delays and so on. So we encourage you to do that. This ID for on the real account is actually unique to you. So if you just send us an email, any of your users that click on this, they will be automatically logged under your own profile. And what that means is right now we've been doing incentive on every client you bring in. We actually give you credit towards that client once they're fully onboarded. And if they trade as well up to certain value, we give you another credit. So it's almost like a win-win. You get to use our system a lot easier without any problem, and you get to take some money as well. The other thing that happens here is if you actually have an email address of your suppliers, when you're creating the beneficiary, you can add the email address as well. If you do so at the time of the payout, and if you're paying outside the company, outside Verto, which is someone's bank account, with that email address, the user will always get a confirmation statement. And this is where some users that are used to maybe getting MT103 when they do international payments and they want to be tracking it, it's actually easy to track as well, because you don't have to message your supplier anymore that I've paid you. They don't need to chase you. They can just go on our website, clicking on the link, they get the email, and they can see where the payment is at any point in time. So that's pretty much how to exchange with Verto. Obviously, there's the other one is how you can still exchange with Verto but without involving us, and that's what we call the marketplace. So exchange at Zerates and marketplace, they're pretty much well, cousins or brothers, because marketplace just display other people's transactions. So if you were the type that you always want to negotiate on the rate, or you're not in need of that money straight away because you know that you need to make the payments end of August, for example, and now you're just trying to make sure that you get the best rate, you can easily just come on here and create any transaction in any currency pair. So I can do GBP, USD to GBP, even though I can easily get it on the platform somewhere. And I can say I'm looking for the rate when it's at 0. Now, because I don't need the money today, I can give a deadline of 29th of August. And hopefully within that period, market moves towards my pricing, or somebody out there is looking at different prices as well. And I put this, and this ultimately goes onto the marketplace. What then happens is if somebody were to accept your order or bid on it, you get confirmation email, you get notification on the platform, and you can obviously proceed with the transaction. But the other way to actually do the same thing is to just go on the marketplace. And when you come on the marketplace, you can see maybe orders created by other users on the platform. And what will happen is you can come in here and you can say, okay, this person is trying to sell pounds for Naira at 705. If you like the price, you can just accept and transfer. If, let's say, you like the price, but you don't want to buy 55,000 pounds worth of amount, you can change it. You can change the value that you want. And if you're happy with the price, with the rates, you can just click on negotiate. If, let's say, you're not happy with the rates neither, you can do the same thing, just update that and then negotiate. Now, that user will get the same confirmation on their side, and they have two options. They can negotiate back or accept it. And once they accept it, the rest of the transaction happens exactly the same way as when you do a Verto rate, which means you send the fund, they send the fund, and we do the settlement. Now, because this is a marketplace solution, we give every client to settle the fund within 24 hours. So the transaction time at the moment could be delayed depending on both parties. So if one person decides to send it on the 23rd hours and you send it on the first hour, ultimately there will be delay. But we're obviously trying to make sure that doesn't happen. In most cases, where we reach out to the clients, ensure that they process faster. And as we grow, we have to put in some other rules in the future. But right now, it's open-ended. But it does work well, especially for a liquid currency. And that's where most of our emerging market businesses prefer to trade as well. So that's another place where how you can exchange. The last place that you can exchange, this is one of the new solutions on the wallet. So wallets now is not just a data dump of your balances. It's actually a place where you can do a lot of stuff. So from your wallet, you can do a conversion inside your wallet. So now I've got 45K in my pounds account. I can convert to INR. So, and you can see in real time, my pounds is gone and my INR get credited. And now I can use my INR to do a payout because I need to pay out 71,000 INR to a beneficiary, which I can quickly enter the value. The purpose of my payments and send. So this is for us to ensure that if there's any potential fraud happening on the client side, maybe someone is interrupting your emails and so on, you actually get a notification to confirm that you are the one making this transfer. Now, when you do that, you can see that that money got moved into your lock balance. So it means it's not available for you to use anymore. In this instance, there's two things that's happening in the background. It's either it's going out straight away or there might be some control check on the outside. And the reason why we do that is we want to make sure that the person you're paying is not on any sanction or AML list or any security and finance issues that might be happening in the past or adverse media. And once that is clear, that payment actually goes out. And what we're working on is to even make that process a lot faster, even when we have to step in to do the control element. But usually this will go out straight away. Now, what might happen is your user might not get the money straight away because it's down to their own receiving bank, and we cannot control receiving bank process. So some banks only process payment once a day, some twice a day, some literally every minute. So it depends on how quickly they process as well. So you might not actually be in that bank straight away because it's an international payment. Now, if it's a local payment, which is something that we're working towards, it means that payment, even though it's international, we will settle it locally, and you will still settle a lot faster than if you're using a SWIFT and so on. So that's another way how you can make an exchange. So you can make an exchange within inside your wallet. How are we doing with time, Emily?
Yeah, all good. Thank you for the questions that have come through so far on the Q&A, and we'll get to those soon. If you do have a question, please just pop it in if you click on Q&A at the bottom of the screen, and then you can type it, and Anthony will answer soon.
Cool. Thanks, Emily. Now moving on to how to fund your account. So at the moment, like I said earlier, we have only allowed bank transfer on the platform because a lot of our clients actually do large value transaction most of the time. And what that means is it's almost nearly impossible for a lot of their like a personal or business banking that they're using to move that kind of value. But we know that as we grow and as those business grows, there might be a need for to make smaller transactions as well. So we are looking to bring in a card payment system and other stuff onto the platform, hopefully before end of the year or early next year. But you can fund your account very simply by just adding fund. You enter the value of amount you wanna send to us. If there's a purpose, see, you have to select the purpose. That way, you kind of remove the unnecessary back and forth that does happen sometimes, where we might have to provide evidence why somebody is using us to your receiving bank and so on. You add the fund, again, give you bank accounts to send it to. This is where I've seen delays in payments because especially for users that use us regularly, there seems to be a quicker way for them to do that transaction because they've used us, so they just go back to the bank and just initiate exactly the same transaction as last time. Now, in that scenario, that might be 100% correct, but it's possible that we are giving you a completely different account number with the same bank. And when user actually just pay us, it means that our auto routing payment will not pick this transaction up. Because if it's a UK bank coming to our UK bank, that is an instant payment. Our system will pick up automatically within seconds. But if you send it to the wrong account, the system will not do that because it's not trained to be looking at every single account for that transaction. So it means that there might have to be a control where when we run the payment run, maybe 3 or 4 times a day, that will pick this up. So I will employ people to maybe at least follow whatever it says on the screen to ensure that is the case. The second thing that is important is the reference number. This is super important for reconciliation. It's super important for our own regulatory compliance and so on because we need to know end-to-end source of fund, the movement of fund across the platform and where it's going. If you don't update the reference number or if you don't add a reference number, it actually delays the payment as well. Because again, the system recognizes that a payment with this reference number should be going to this account number. Therefore, instantly we reconcile it and that person will get the money. If any of these two fails, there's a chance that it will be delayed. So this is one of the reasons why some payments are delayed when people make the payments. We always ask you to put the bank name that you're sending the fund from. And this is one of the reasons where if let's say you missed out on what I just explained, when we say the bank name, it's easy for our payment ops team to quickly reconcile because they're okay, this is coming from this account and they can do their own quick run and they'll find the money quickly. But if you don't have that or if it's a wrong bank name, again, it just delays the process. And that's basically the end of that. And within seconds or minutes or in some cases hours, this payment will be confirmed. But what you can do is you can always come back here. Every transaction that happens on the platform is recorded. So you can go in there to see every one of your transactions. As you can see here, it's still showing that it's not completed. So until when it's completed, it will be requested. If there's any reason to be disputed or whatever, the status will change as well. You can also fund your account when you ultimately are doing an exchange. So like I showed earlier, if you're doing a conversion between one currency and another currency, you actually fund your account. And if you are using the full amount to send to a provider or your suppliers, then that's when the whole amount is going out. But if you, let's say, are planning to send 20,000 to somebody, but you exchange 25,000, the best option is to actually move that money into your wallet And once in your wallet, you can then do a payout from your wallet, and that's where the remaining balance will sit on your inside the wallet, and you can use that at a later stage. Other stuff you can do in your wallet is you can easily pay out. So you can pay to your own sub accounts in other countries. You can do to the beneficiary, which is any of your beneficiary that you added before, or you can do a payout to Verto. So in scenario where you have or you know of other businesses that are on Verto that maybe you are trading with, you can easily send money to those companies. And that fund will leave your account and it will settle in their account instantly. And if Infotech logs in, they will get confirmation in the email and on the platform, the credit. And this could be for any currency. So Infotech doesn't have to be a business in the UK to get pounds from you as a user. And you can do that for any of our 39 currencies that we currently offer. On here, by default, most people have 5 currency, but you can add any other currency that you need at any point in time, and that becomes it get added to your wallet and it's done instantly. One of the things that we're bringing in over the next few weeks as well is ability for you to have multiple wallets in the same currency, i.e. if you're the type that you get paid or you're running different reconciliation and you don't want to mess up the money, you can actually have multiple GBP accounts. And what we say is you should have a label to differentiate between the accounts. So that way it's a lot clearer why you using this account or what you're using this account for, and that will allow you to do reconciliation as well. Other stuff you can do within your account, we've done convert within your account, you can download your statements. What we actually do is we give you the option to download in CSV, Excel, and PDF. And that's because, again, some people are not just downloading for look and feel of PDF, they actually want to do reconciliation. And we send that straight into your email address that you register with. You can custom what page you want, or you can custom by date. If you don't want every single date, you can custom by the months and so on. You generate it, and that will get sent to your email address in form of a statement or the format that you've asked for. And every transactions that happen from day one of you using Verto are all recorded inside your history. What we've done here is we've separated into the 4 functions. So is this transaction that's coming from your e-wallet, which is your wallet that we're just going through, or from your bank account. In some cases, if you have bank account, you will see that here, or is it coming from your marketplace transaction, or is it all the transaction that you've done with Verto? And for each one of these, you can always go back and download the transaction history. So this is still not finished. There's still more, some nice features that we're going to add to this to make it even more intuitive. The other last question is how to send and receive payment. I think kind of covered both on there. To send money, you can easily send money if you're sending from one currency to the same currency. You don't need to do any exchange. So all you need to do is add fund into your wallet and then do a payout from your wallet into whatever account is going to. If it's going to your account, the beneficiary, or Verto business, just do a quick withdrawal and that goes out. You can add fund and do a conversion inside your wallet. Then you do the same process of paying out. Or you can just do a complete end-to-end add fund goes out straight away to your beneficiary. Now, one of the key products that is going to come out in the next 3 months is what we call a multi-currency account, which basically give you a bank account with a unique IBAN, and that unique IBAN is plugged into every single currency that we have, and you can give that currency or that IBAN number to any of your clients. Now, if your client wants to pay you, all you have to do is send money. In that scenario, you don't need to do add fund. The person can just pay you into your wallet, and your wallet will get credited. And if you give them their IBAN number and somebody decides to pay you in AED, it will come into AED. If they pay you in pounds, it will come. So literally you can collect fund in any of our currencies, and then that will get credited. The same way you can pay out from the wallet. The other side of that solution that we bring in is called payment link. Equally, if you don't want to give someone your IBAN, you can create a payment link, send a payment link to them, ask for exact amount that you're looking for. They can use their debit card, credit card, bank transfer to pay, and that money get credited into your wallet. And you can use payment link to pay somebody as well. Let's say you need to pay suppliers, but you haven't got their bank details. You can create a payment with the value that you need and send the link to them, and they can get that withdrawn out of their account. And that kind of like removing any potential pain point with adding beneficiaries and so on. Okay. So in summary, I know there's some questions, so I will go there in the debate, but in summary, what you guys have is we have 3 key products today, which is Exchange, Verto, Marketplace, and Wallet. Over the next 2 months, you guys will start to see some changes on our platform from the website, and that's how we're trying to move away from the simple problem that we're solving at the beginning of Verto, which was effects, to solving the bigger problem, which is how we're going to bring in a couple of the new features I just mentioned and our own API. So ultimately, our product will now become a combination of paymenting, exchange, and payout. Then we have a banking infrastructure sitting on top of it that you can use to collect and receive money. And what we want to do going forward is, rather than having to almost not communicating well in terms of like what it is that we're building, what we're doing about, so we actually want to bring you guys on the journey of what we've built or what we are building. So we've launched this dashboard today, which is basically telling you different products. Because I think, especially if you're a business and you're quite busy, you're not coming on Verto to socialize. It's not your Instagram or Facebook. So a lot of people don't actually see or understand what product is out there until they need to use it. Here you can see all the product that we've launched so far on the version 3. You can see products that are literally ready to be launched. Some are going to go in today. Some are going to go next week. The next 2 or 3 weeks, all of these are going to be launched, and you see stuff that we're building. And what we want to do is to bring you guys on the journey where if you have any great idea, any problems, any solution that you're looking for that either you haven't seen or not, you can easily come in and add that here. And Emily will talk a bit more at the end about this.